Hey guys, how's it going and thanks for coming. I'm Nick, and in this video we're going over if you are going to get a $1,200 stimulus check and what else is going on with this package. So I'm sure you're hearing all over the place, the $1,200 stimulus check, the stimulus package, and free money, but what the heck is going on? So I want to confirm if this is true, what other hidden things are in this stimulus package I want to be going over, because I've been going through multiple videos, multiple articles, and I want to kind of compile the big important things that could matter for you guys. And we'll even talk about how you might want to spend this extra money, because we're not getting free money very frequently. At least most of us aren't. So there are a lot of things in this package that we're going to be going over. I will leave in the description timestamps so you could jump around what's relevant for you if you want to know what's going on with the check, student loans, or what have you. But these are some of the things that we're going to be talking about. The stimulus checks, student loans, unemployment, mortgages. There are also small business loans, and of course, there's always bailouts. So I have learned that the actual package, like the written out complete file, is over 800 pages. So I doubt a lot of people will actually read this to understand the specific details of the stimulus package. But at the same time, we do have a lot of time on our hands, so maybe I will read that. But it is out there, and it's just very, very long, and I want to condense it, hopefully, for you guys. All right, so time to start it off with the stimulus checks. So we're first focusing on if you were filing as a single person. So that is, if you're making below $75,000, then you're getting that $1,200 stimulus check. But up to $99,000, if you're filing for single, you get a diminished amount of that. And if you're making more than that, then you get nothing. At the same time, if you're married, if you're making below $150,000 jointly, you're getting a $2,400 stimulus check. And of course, it does diminish up until you get to $198,000. If you make more than that, then you get nothing. And kids, if you do have dependents, they give you an extra $500 as well. I do want to give a shout out to Ryan Scribner. I did see his video on this, and I found out from him that there is actually a stimulus check calculator that you're able to put in what you make, whether you're single, married, and find out what you could get on your check. So I'll leave a link in the description. You can play around with that, and I'll show you that right now. So to just give a couple quick examples to see what you might be getting. So this is the first example. If you are single getting income of $50,000, you see you get your stimulus payment of $1,200. The next example is if you are single and making $90,000, you can see a diminished amount of $450. Again, you could always play around with this and adjust it for your personal income. Check out the link. But this more examples of if you're married, making $100,000 jointly, you're getting $2,400. And the last example, if you're married, making $100,000 but have 2 kids, you can see your check could be $3,400. Now, what about students? What if you're going to college? Well, it depends on if you actually filed as a dependent under your parents or guardian or something like that. So if you were not independent, you would be considered a dependent, so you actually wouldn't be getting that $1,200. The parents or guardian would get $500. On the other hand, if you did file on your own, then you are qualified for that $1,200 check. Now, what about when should you look at your income? Because there is a variety of incomes versus 2018 versus 2019. So again, I'm not an accountant, I'm not anything like that, so definitely talk specifically with your personal accountant to determine what might be best for you. But some things that I was reading is that maybe, well, first of all, if you didn't file for 2019 yet, because that has been extended until July. If you already filed, well, you had to file for 2018 and made less than, then you would use your income based on 2018. However, if you already filed your 2019, because maybe you made less in 2019 or made more, that depends on what your accountant might say, but it depends on if you already filed it versus if you have to look back to the year prior. The next big question is, when the heck are you getting your money? Now, I have been trying to look around for an accurate understanding of when this could be happening. I have heard that you might have to wait for 3 weeks to get your stimulus check. Now, how are you going to be getting it? Like, is it going to be direct deposit or check? And I heard that it depends on whatever you got your last return as, like in 2018, if you got a direct deposit, then they're going to direct deposit that money into your account. And yes, by the way, that means the government has your bank account information. Isn't that swell to know? On the flip side, if maybe a check was mailed to you, they would do the same. Word of caution, if you did move, just verify the address that they have on file. Any questions, any specifics, anything like that, definitely check with your accountant first. So this section is with big numbers. So I'm going to go over this relatively quickly. After this, don't worry, we're getting into unemployment, student loans, and mortgages, and everything like that. So again, if you want to skip that if you wish, you go ahead for the timestamps. But this is additional funding that the stimulus package has in addition to stimulus checks. So there was also $100 billion toward the hospital industry, which makes sense because of everything that's going on. There was also $58 billion for the airline industry because they're basically crashing and crumbling right in front of us. There was $150 billion being pushed into cities and states because they don't have enough money. Next would be the defense sector. So this would be possibly preventing or curing what's going on right now, as well as possible military or police increase. Little concerning, something to at least know about. Also $10 billion for the post office, which apparently I just found out that is underwater already. That's great to know, no one ever told me that. So I'm getting pretty bad with my handwriting, but there were also small business loans. I heard that it might have been $500 billion. And you can see that the Federal Reserve, I'll show you this chart, their balance sheet has just increased over $5 trillion on their balance sheet at this point, because they're buying everything. Not only funding this, but also buying more bonds, more treasuries. I heard they're recently getting into ETFs, and most likely even stocks. Some other quick industries would be food stamps, farmers, and also schools. Moving right along into unemployment. So, I have heard and read that there was an increase in unemployment benefits because of everything that's going on. So, there was an increase of $600 extra per week, and that's going to last for 4 months. There are also state unemployment benefits that make up 100% of lost wages. Now, at the same time, there was a huge spike in jobless claims. I'll show you a chart right now. Before, it was averaging maybe, I don't know, like 300,000 jobless claims last month. And then it just shot up all the way up to over 3 million jobless claims. So you can see there's a huge amount of people filing for unemployment. So before we said it was around like 300,000. The expected was supposed to be 1.5 million, and it was actually 3.3 million. Yes, my handwriting is horrible, but there was a huge surge in unemployment, which is even more issues and concerns for the overall economy. But that's okay, but the stock market went up nonetheless, because that makes complete sense, of course. And while I'm erasing this, if you guys have any unemployment or know anyone in a certain industry that has got laid off or anything like that, definitely I would like to know that, because no one really knows what's going on. So it would be interesting to know who's getting laid off, who's, having troubles. Next big question a lot of people are probably asking or talking about are student loans. What's going on with them? Well, for the principal and interest payments, they have been delayed until September 30th. So that's actually 6 months that you don't have to be paying for your student loans. Now, be aware that this is only for federal direct loans. If you have a private loan, then you still have to pay that. So definitely check with what you have, and you might not be able to delay that. Now, by the way, if you're already suspended in your student loans, they are delaying the debt collection for that, and I heard there might be some rebates or refunds for those specific defaults on loans. So I would put an asterisk next to this one, student loans, and the next one as well with mortgages, because yeah, you might want to like delay it for a little bit, because that's always great. However, you shouldn't get into the routine of not paying these loans because you still have debt. It's not like they're wiping it out for you. So if you want, you could continue to make these payments if you're able to. Later on, we're going to be talking about how to spend this stimulus check money. Might be able to help you out. But, you know, if your income really hasn't been affected, maybe you could go straight toward your principal payment so you don't have to pay any interest. All right, next big question would be mortgages, because you probably heard that you might not be able to pay for your mortgage at this point. It might have been delayed. So I have heard that you can delay your mortgages. Of course, with all of this information, just double check with your mortgage provider to see what's going on in your specific situation. Just don't not pay your loans. You have to apply and make sure everything's set up and organized. But you can, I heard, go into forbearance. So that means you do not have to pay. However, at the same time, you still get charged for interest. So just be aware for that, and that this delayed payment is up to 6 months. Again, double check with your mortgage provider. Another asterisk, just don't get used to not paying your mortgage. Now, I have heard that they might restructure the loan, that you might have to space out these payments that you delayed throughout the loan or something like that, or maybe when it's sold or date of payoff. It was something like that. So definitely, if you're interested, to look into a little bit further with that. But if you are wanting to delay your mortgages, definitely you have to set it up. So of course, if you heard anything else, definitely let's talk about it in the comments, because I know there's a lot of information out there. We want to be accurate and make sure this is actually correct. But I was going over a bunch of articles and videos, making sure at least this stuff is valid for you guys. Now, last but not least, how to use your free money. You might have, been adjusting to all this new normal and everything. So what might be the best way to use this possible stimulus check that you could be getting? So I want to keep this really simple. It's not going into too much detail. We just have to focus on what we have right now. So the first thing you would have to focus on is if you have any late payments. Now, there are certain things like we just talked about, student loans, mortgages. They're not considered late, they're just delayed. However, if there are any other late payments, maybe with credit cards or anything like that, pay that off. You're still required to make payments basically for everywhere. And because you have debt, you have to pay that off. So if you have extra money coming in, make sure you're paying your payments and bills on time. Now, after that, if you're all caught up, everything's looking just peachy, then you could go and save what's possibly left over. And I think this situation that we're in right now, we're in a crisis, and people are starting to realize you need cash as a cushion. You need cash on hand. So at this point, people are out of work for maybe like 2 weeks at this point, maybe a little bit more. But realizing that so many people are living paycheck to paycheck and living off of credit cards, and you cannot live like that. So this could be a good start. If you're getting some extra money, put that in a savings account because you're going to need it. This might only be the beginning, unfortunately, but you have to save for uncertainty. Next way you might want to use this free money would be toward your debt. If you're up to date with everything and you're still carrying maybe balances on credit cards, maybe with student loans, especially if the interest rates are low right now, you could try, after saving, because you have to make sure you're okay for right now. But if you're able to start paying down that debt, everyone's been saying that forever, but especially right now you see exactly Why? So if you're able to pay down that debt, have less of a payment, that will benefit you dramatically. Because if you have no debt, you have no payments. If you get laid off, you have less income or no income, and you still have payments somewhere else with either credit cards, student loans, cars, then you struggle to pay them. So that's why you need to do basically all these. And keeping it simple, last but not least, the last way you might be able to use this money is invest. Make sure you do all of these first because that's more important. You know, you got to live and survive right now rather than like next week. But if you have all this kind of more under control, you're able to focus on investing this money and growing it. So you could start looking at possible side hustles you could get involved with. Sorry, I know my left hand's probably blocking it while I'm writing. But you could get involved with side hustles. Maybe with other types of investments that are able to grow your money quicker. Because savings isn't really going to help much. You know, most accounts are giving you less than 1%. And when inflation is more than that, you're just getting destroyed. So if you're able to grow it in other ways faster than that, that could definitely benefit you a lot. So guys, hopefully this helped you out. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please leave them down below. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. What are you seeing? What are you hearing? Because we have to come together, because especially right now. So thank you so much for watching. Hit this with a thumbs up if this helped you out. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos. And real quick, if you guys are questioning how to budget during these difficult times, I do have another video how to do that exactly right here. And I'll see you guys in the next one.